Hi, this is Joy with Obsessed with Scrapbooking. Today we're going to make this multicolored background behind this overlay from the new Close to My Heart Artbooking Cricut cartridge. Here are my cuts I used from that cartridge and to go ahead and make this card. Let's get started. Today I'm going to show you how to paper piece this together. Last week I showed you a video on this using the Cricut Craft Room, and a lot of you said you wanted to see how I would do it by hand. The first thing I would do is cut this out 3 times, one in that neutral color that we're going to be using, and then another time in these 2 other colors. I decided to use kind of this grape color and a green color, but you could choose 2 other accent colors, whatever you'd like. I also backed the neutral with like a deep purple, which you'll see here in a minute when I spray this on. I use spray adhesive. That is repositionable spray adhesive. You can get some of that at Joann's if you want to. That's from C&I International Stick and Spray. Now you'll notice here, this is a big tip. Don't scrape off these little bits. Leave them on the mat just like I'm doing here, because these little openings are not uniform. So what arrows in one column may not fit the arrow in another column, even though they look like they're almost the same size. Okay, so do yourself a favor, leave it on the mat, pry it off with your tweezers, and just work it that way. You'll be a lot happier. I'm using my Close to My Heart glue pen and my favorite tweezer bee tweezers. The Close to My Heart glue pen you can get from Close to My Heart from me, and the tweezers, of course, you can get at Michael's, and they're awesome. I have like 2-3 pairs. So basically what I'm doing here, I am just randomly picking these out and laying them where the spirit leads me. There's no real rhyme or reason going on here. I think the only guiding force I was using is that background is really a deep purple. It's like an eggplant color purple. I know it looks black here, but it's really a nice deep purple. And I really wanted to use that more as an occasional accent color, kind of like that pop of zing color, if you will. So I did use the green and the lighter purple to cover most of that. So there's very few dark purple spots. And that was pretty much my only guiding thought here. Doing this by hand, obviously I've speeded this up like 4 times faster than it would normally take. It took maybe 10 minutes, so it's not the longest process. Of course, that did take longer than the craft room though. So I did make a video about the craft room if you want to check that out. That was on for last week. And now we're going to go ahead and just get the front of the card handled. I went ahead and I cut these arrows out at, I think I said at the beginning of the video, 1.5 inches and 1 inch. And I'm just backing this with a little piece of grape. I'm using some Scotch tape because that's such an easy way to kind of get that something stuck down without too much trouble. I had a little piece that wanted to stick up, so I was smoothing that out. All these pieces are from the Close to My Heart Artbooking Cricut cartridge, which I'm featuring. The arrows, the font, thanks, and then obviously the overlay and the pieces that go in the overlay for this card. I did weld the thanks in the Cricut Craft Room. It's about 1 inch tall. If you did not want to do that, you can go ahead and cut out the letters individually, or you could use a stamp, whichever you wanted to do. I just thought this would be fast. I'm sorry though, I used the craft room. I was going to try to do this video without using it at all, but oh well. All right, moving on. I have a piece of 1 1/4 by 8 like 1/8 sheet of, or a little piece of cream, just to kind of anchor our thanks down. So I thought it needed a little something to hold it onto the card, give it a little tie down, if you will. I'm using some foam squares to give it some dimension. And I've got some texture with this overlay, so we got a lot going on this card. But pretty simple, pretty quick. Finally, the last bit of the card is we need to make the card base. I have an 8 inch by 8 inch sheet of paper that I've scored at 4 inches, and now I'm folding in half. I'm using my Score Pal, and the Score Pal comes with this bone folder to fold it. I appreciate you guys watching my videos. Leave any questions or comments below and I'll try to get back to those. Again, this was the Close to My Heart Artbooking cartridge, and you can get that. You'll be able to see all those details coming up on the video. Thanks and have a wonderful day.